We're reading the 46th chapter of Ross Mackenzie's EVERNIGHT. It is called Don't Trust Anybody. Tap, tap, tap. The door to old Hans's shop cracked open a little, and there he was, peering out like an old owl. When he saw it was Joe, he took a sharp breath and his wild eyebrows jumped inquisitively. Well? You get it? Joe brought the urn out from under his coat. Old Hans almost fell back in excitement. He unlocked the door, motioning for Joe to enter the shop. Well done, boy, well done. Joe handed the urn to old Hans, who placed it on the counter with a great deal of reverence. Beautiful, just look at it. He chuckled to himself and rubbed his hands together. Oh, Joe Littleford, the things I'm going to be able to do. Right, said Joe. Good. Now, about that healing potion. I never imagined I'd have this chance, said old Hans, ignoring Joe, shining the urn with his sleeve. I mean, old Hans, I can do whatever I want, said old Hans, and not even Mrs. Hester can stop me. Old Hans! Joe's voice finally brought the old man back to the here and now. He raised an eyebrow. The potion, said Joe, holding out an open hand. My payment. Old Hans walked behind the counter. He rested his elbows either side of the urn. He looked at Joe with a great deal of curiosity. First rule of business, boy. Grab every chance you get. I don't understand. But now a horrible sickness was swelling in Joe's stomach. There is no healing potion, said old Hans. I'm not a hag. What? But you said... I said what you wanted to hear, so you do what I wanted you to do, said old Hans, rolling his eyes in their sunken sockets, as if he was explaining the simplest thing in the world. Now look here, Joe, consider this a lesson, right? Everybody in this world will use you for something, if you let them. I used you tonight, but I'm not a monster. I'll pay you. He brought out a single gold coin, placed it on the counter, slid it towards Joe. Joe stared at it. That's not enough. Fury was beginning to stoke a fire in his chest. I'll need much more to buy a potion on the black market. You know that. Old Hans chewed on the inside of his cheek. Final offer, he said, placing a silver coin on top of the gold one. Still not enough. Joe's eyes were watering, burning. He stared at old Hans and then at the urn. Slowly, very slowly, old Hans reached beneath the counter and brought out a knife. Don't do anything daft, Joe. Joe's insides were ablaze with anger. He made a foolish grab for the urn, but old Hans grabbed him on the shoulder, cracked him on the shoulder with the handle of the knife, and Joe stumbled back, crashing hard into a display cabinet. First it rocked back, almost fell over, then it rocked forward, gathering momentum, sending Joe ducking out of the way. No! Old Hans threw himself over the urn as the cabinet came crashing down on top of him, with the sounds of smashing plates and snapping wood and a short, sharp cry of pain. Then nothing. Old Hans! Joe snuck forward, peering beneath the cabinet. Old Hans was slumped and unconscious, and the sight of him caused a stab of fear in Joe's chest. Was he dead? The thought of that made Joe feel sick. It had been an accident. He reached in, pressed his fingers on old Hans' neck, and felt for a pulse. Alive. The old git was alive, thank Lady Light. Putting every muscle of his wiry little frame to work, Joe tipped the cabinet off the old man, who groaned and started to stir. Then Joe grabbed the urn, tucked it in his coat, and ran out of the shop.